Tehsin, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. WhatSales Loose Talk sessions. These sessions, which were uh, created on the demand of our users, uh,
Hmm.
loose talk into different aspects of selling online because, as you would agree, selling online is maybe not as easy as maybe some gurus or some people make it out to be. But I thank you for joining me. For everybody else, Tessin is the CEO of Seller Downtown, a specialist Amazon advertising scaling agency. They're based in Lahore in Pakistan, but they have outlets different places around the world. They work with multiple agencies, and they specialize in the 5 to 6 figure brands scaling upwards, but they have a lot of other customers in between. Tessin, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Rashid. And it's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to talk to our sales customers. And I'm happy to answer if they have any questions for me, and just any questions regarding Amazon and how they can scale their own brands on Amazon as well.
Absolutely. Tessin, we help customers with their profitability, as you know.
Hmm.
Our users, we have a broad spectrum of users. We have sellers who are just starting out, and we have some sellers who are in the middle of their journey, 3, 4 figures, right up to 7 to 8 figures. And it's interesting to see how they're progressing in their journey. Advertising is an area where we get a lot of questions come through from a lot of our users. Um, Tessin, first, please tell me, selling on Amazon, easy as it looks?
I would say not that much, but because on Amazon there are a lot of different models that you can sell at. There's a wholesale model. You go to a good brand and say, okay, I can help you sell your products through on Amazon, and it's a bit easier, and there's better profitability in there. But it's hard to find brands that are selling well on Amazon, and that's one. And then there's the retail arbitrage model. I'm going to get into the PL part, but then there's the retail arbitrage. Okay, you go to Walmart, you find stuff that's at deep discounts and sell on Amazon, make some profit. Okay, so
Mhm.
that's the easy part. Okay, that's like very good, but not that scalable, of course. Okay, because you only have you as the buyer. Yeah, but then there comes the PL part, that's private label for you. So you build your own brand with your own logo on the products, and that's your baby pretty much. Yeah, but with the PL part, I think it's not as easy as it looks, because when you're building something that's personal to you, that's a very emotional standpoint. And what a lot of marketing has gone into for over the last 3 to 4 years is gurus going out and telling people, okay, you're going to launch a brand, and there you go. Okay, so the money is going to pour in. I think it was a bit easier 3 to 4 years back, but with the progression of people coming in, and the Amazon marketplace is democratizing and enabling people to sell from anywhere in the world, that
Absolutely.
has led to great power shift and capital shift. That's one.
7 to 8 thousand new sellers every day. It's the
Exactly,
marketplace is
exactly.
getting competitive.
Exactly. So that has enabled a lot of people to sell on Amazon from all over the world, and that has made the market a bit competitive. So at this point in time, with the marketing and the perception of the market that has gone into on YouTube and all of the platforms, I would say it's not as easy as it looks, because a lot of things have to go right in order for you to be successful on Amazon and build an actual private label brand that you can maybe sell at some point and get a good exit.
Exits is something that we love and what we work with day in, day out. And I always endorse and emphasize the point that you are building a commercially viable asset, and that's how your e-commerce should be looked at. But that's
Exactly.
a story for another day.
Hmm.
Tessin, who should not get involved in e-commerce selling, especially when we're talking about Amazon? Who should stay away?
Hmm.
Who should not sell online?
Okay. So it's actually a multifaceted question, because there can be multiple ways to sell on Amazon. But what I understand from the overall standpoint of the market at the moment is that the one guy who is not able to take care of things, or at least have a good overlook of things undergoing,
A
I think he
disorganized.
should. He should. I think he should be. Not coming into the market with where it's like this competitive, because people are on their A game all the time, and there are agencies which have the specialized knowledge, and they know what they're doing pretty much. So that loose attitude of selling on Amazon, because for example, if you are working in, let's say, South Asia, or if you're working in, let's say, a Middle East, the market is not mature. That's one. You can go into the market, sell anything you want, and you will sell. Okay, that's great. I know the scale is not that much, but you will sell. But in the competitive marketplace like the US, if you're going out there and selling without any USP, that's a unique value selling proposition. You don't have a USP, you don't have a plan to get customers, you don't have any authority in the niche, then it's going to be hard to sell in the niche. So that kind of anyone who does not have a plan to sell on Amazon and to build a brand, and who's just going to say, okay, I'm gonna spend this much and I'm gonna earn this much. That kind of transactional persons, I think that he should stay away from a private label brand on Amazon.
I couldn't agree more. This takes me back to a conversation with an aggregator I was having a short while ago.
Hmm.
Um, 5 6 years ago, 7 years ago, selling on Amazon was a very new experience. It was giving the ability for an entrepreneur, for an individual, to
Yeah.
launch their own product
Hmm.
relatively easier and bringing it to market. Amazon
Correct.
was plowing in millions into advertising and promoting their platform, and
Hmm.
it was somewhat easier. But
Yeah.
now, in 2021, post pandemic,
Correct.
Amazon is all about creating the super brands, the next super
Exactly.
brands, the next Nikes, the next Bosch, the next Samsungs, the next Apples. And
Hmm.
that's why I completely agree with you. Many of these brand owners are on their A game. And that's given
Exactly.
birth to agencies, much like yourself, where
Yeah.
they want industry experts to come in and they're willing to invest with a sole
Exactly.
purpose that 3 to 5 years from now, we're going to
Hmm.
exit.
Exactly.
We're going to sell to a super brand, a conglomerate, and we're
Exactly.
going to exit it. So, yeah, no, I
Hmm.
completely agree with you. Um, Saying that and on that, would you
Hmm.
then agree, Tessin, that you need much larger budgets to
Hmm.
start out as compared to what it was, say, a few years ago?
I would definitely agree with that, because I was just listening to Gary Vee talk in some meeting actually, and what he was asked at that point was, okay, should I go on Amazon? Should I go to should I go to make a Shopify website, or should I sell on social media? And what he said was to go simultaneously, and give small push to each thing. So that's the thing. Uh, Selling on Amazon is not going to be the only thing that you do in your business, and that's a very good point, because when you're on Amazon, you're basically selling to Amazon customers. They are not your customers. So that is one point. So what we recommend at this point in time to brand owners, to potential brand owners, is that, okay, you're gonna have to invest to build a brand and not an Amazon listing. And what that means is they're going to have to invest in building a brand, building a blog, building informational content on social media, building authority in the niche, and maybe selling on Shopify. They're going to have to invest in Google ads. They're going to have to invest in Google SEO as well. So they're going to have to invest in a lot of things, and that kind of gives
Diversification.
diversification. And all of those things can help each other. So, for example, if you have an audience built within 6 months, they have a good engagement rate with your emails, you can easily launch your Amazon private label just through the email. So that kind of multifaceted and multidimensional approach to selling an e-commerce brand and building a brand rather than just an Amazon listing, that is what is needed at this point in the market, and that kind of leads to a bigger budget. So, for example, if you're just testing out the market on Amazon with, let's say, 1,000 units or 500 units, depending on the product, of course, you can just do it within even 10K, maybe even 5K. If you're selling a very small product. But this kind of a brand building part, this we normally recommend that people start with something around like 20K in the capital and investing it in on a 12 months to 18 months period to actually build an audience and a brand outside of Amazon and also on Amazon as well. So I think a good budget should be 20K across a 12 to 18 months period to actually build a brand on multiple platforms, and that can help them sell on Amazon in a better way as well.
Interesting. No, thanks for that. So, wow. Leading on to the next question,
Mhm.
naturally would be, can I sell and sell without advertising? What's your thoughts?
Okay, yeah. So that's a very interesting question because 2 years back, the answer was different. You could just list your product and you got sales, organic sales as well. But at this point in time, and if you're talking about the US marketplace, it's much too competitive. Let me just explain this way. So for each product cycle, there's a very simple method of selling it. So okay, so you need discoverability. That's basically you tell Amazon, okay, I'm selling this. For example, if you are selling a broom holder, you're gonna have to write broom holder in the title or bullet points. Okay, so that means okay, Amazon now knows, okay, this product that you're selling is a broom holder. So that's discoverability. The next thing is visibility. So you're gonna have to see eyeballs on your listing. Few years back, if you search broom holder, you only had like 50 sellers doing it. So that means you get visibility, you know, here and there, just even without advertising. Okay. But now at this point in time, you don't get visibility at all because you're at the 53rd page. And for that, for you to get visibility across your products, you're going to have to spend advertising. And then comes the next part, that is convergence. So basically, if your offer is right for the market and for the customer, and you sell it on the emotional pain points of the customer of that exact niche, then you're going to have to see visibility into convergence. And that's basically all there is to Amazon selling.
Excellent. Beautifully put. In other words, Tessin, in this market, if you want your products
Uh-huh.
to sell, you're going to have to advertise and advertise heavily.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All
It's a
right.
pay to play platform now
What types of advertising are there, Tessin, on Amazon?
on Amazon. Yeah. So there are actually two types of Amazon advertising platforms. So one is the Amazon Ad Console that is available to every seller. I can get into the details of the Ad Console later, but there's another type of advertising that is DSP, demand side platform, that is normally used for brands that are above 7 figures above, and not normally used by smaller brands just starting out. Now going into the Ad Console, there are basically three different types of advertising on Amazon. So that is sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display. Sponsored products is the basic type of advertising that where you try to target either keywords or similar products to get some visibility and then hopefully convergence. And that's available to every seller that is a professional seller. That is on Amazon's professional plan. And then you have sponsored brand and sponsored display, but those are available to only brand registered sellers. So if you want those advertising categories, then you're
Right.
gonna have to get brand registered. It's now very a streamlined process that it takes you around a week to 2 weeks to get brand registered in the US. I'm not really sure for the other markets at this moment. So when you're brand registered, you get sponsored brands and sponsored display. So you get the best spots for the video for the top placement in any search result, and then you also get some placements here and there with the sponsored display, giving you very cheaper visibility, and hopefully, if you target things right, you can also get convergence, and that can lead to a good selling.
So, Tessin, somebody who's a 3, 4 figure seller and
Uh
they're
huh.
looking to actually no, somebody who's a new brand, what would you
Okay.
then recommend they do? What steps should they be following into
Mm-hmm.
scaling and selling more, and most importantly, having their advertising actually convert and pay for itself?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand. Okay, so the good steps of selling on Amazon is basically good product development. Because in such a mature market, you can't get away with a bad product. That's number one. Okay, and then if you have a good offer, right? For example, if you have the best pricing, or if you have the best USP, maybe maybe an add-on can help you in that. Depending on the product niche, of course. So if you have the best offer in the market, then it's a bit easier for advertising to pay itself and to sell, right? But regardless
Absolutely,
of that,
absolutely, absolutely.
regardless of that, what we can understand from the advertising part is, there's traffic that you need, that the visibility that you need, and there's the right traffic. You have to understand the intent of your customer, and you have to research, and you have to
That's
build
interesting.
out a buyer persona. Once you have a buyer persona, then you're going to have to adjust your messaging from your creative and copy to the exact buyer persona. And only then, if you target the exact buyer persona, depending on the keyword intents, only then you get the right traffic and you get the right message across, and then you will see conversions, and hopefully that will be profitable as well.
So basically, Tessin, you're saying that I can't just create a automated campaign, put $10 on, and press go and expect 100 sales come out the other end. That's not going to work.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Okay,
Definitely.
right.
Okay.
Many sellers, especially what we've experienced off of WhatSales, is that
Mm-hmm.
their ACOS, and we're going to touch on ACOS shortly, but
Okay.
their ACOS is so high and their cost of advertising is so high that we get messages coming through that, can you help us? We don't understand. We're advertising, but we're not getting the sales. And when we have like a not a deep dive, I'm by no
Uh-huh.
means an advertising specialist, but
Mm-hmm.
when I look at it, it's just so blatantly obvious that people are still stuck in the mindset that all I need to do is create an automated campaign, put 10, $15, $20 on per day, and boom, I'm going to start getting sales magically. But that's not the case.
That's not the case.
Tessin, what is ACOS? ACOS, ACOS, ACOS. Everywhere
Okay.
we look, on Amazon platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook, everyone's talking about ACOS. What is
Correct.
ACOS?
Okay, what is their cost? Mathematically speaking, that's spend divided by sales. So basically, if you get a sales of $100, how much did you spend in Amazon advertising to get those $100 of sales? So for example, if I spent $50 and I got sales of $100, that means my A cost is 50%. And of course, if I'm only spending $20 and I'm getting sales for like $100, that's 20% A cost. So the lower the better, but of course you have to see why it's lower and why it is higher. Now, if you want to talk about lowering a cost, or having a good a cost in general, what it basically means is, so I'm gonna have to explain two concepts. So one is conversion rate. Okay, how many people got to the listing and how many got to sales. So that's basically, if you got 100 people to see your listing, that means 100 clicks to your listing, to your ads. So, okay, I got 10 sales. Okay, makes sense. That's 10% conversion rate. That's decent for Amazon PPC. And of course, you can have higher and lower, but that's decent conversion rate. Okay, and then there's the concept of CPC. That's cost per click. So, for
Absolutely.
example, I got those 100 clicks. I'm gonna have to see how much did it cost me to get those 100 clicks. So, for example, let's assume for the moment, for simplicity over here, I got a CPC of $1. That's $1 spent for one click on my ad. Straightforward. We spent $100. We got 10 sales, and we got 100 people going to our listing from an ad. That's basic simple math. Now, for example, if my listing was at priced at $30, okay, so I got 10 sales from 100 customers, 100 clicks. That is basically $300 in revenue. So I spent $100 to get sales for $300, and that means my A cost is going to be spent divided by sales. That is basically 100 divided by 300. That's 33%. That is going to be my A cost. That is what I spent in order to get what I have in sales. Now, if you want to have a lower A cost, Either you can have a better conversion rate, or you can find keywords which have a lower CPC. So either you spend less. So for example, if I find some keywords which have a lower CPC, that means lower cost per click. So that means for the same 100 clicks, I now spend $50. The cost per click is $0.5 per click. If I spend $50 and got the same 10 sales and $300 in sales, that means my ACOS is going to be 50 divided by 300 now. That is basically 1 by 6. And I think that would be around 17 to
Your maths is
18%.
better than mine.
Uh-huh.
Your maths is better than mine. Will you please carry on?
Okay. Yeah. So basically, if you have a lower CPC, then you can get better ACOS. But lower CPC is not normally not possible because that is dictated by competition. The CPC is decided by a bid auction. So I bid 5 cents, the other guy bid 10 cents, and the other guy bids $1. $1 is going to win, definitely. So that is why you cannot dictate that. It's just in the market. You can find keywords which with a lower CPC, but it's limited what you can do over there. The main thing is in the conversion rate. So for example, let's say I got a CPC of $1. Okay, 100 clicks, 100 customers to my listing. I spent $100, but my conversion rate is now 20%. I am converting 20 of those 100 clicks to sales now. So that means I got 20 sales, $30 each sale, that is $600. So on the same CPC, on the same ad spend, on the same number of clicks, I now have $600 in revenue. Now, with this, we have an ACOS of 18% again, and that's a very, very decent ACOS for even for a new seller or for an established seller as well. So in this
So
way,
you would say that 18% is a good ACOS rate.
it is a good ACOS, yes. But we have to understand this. ACOS is basically spend divided by sales. Now that is PPC spend, like advertising spend, and
Yeah.
divided by advertising sales. With Amazon, once you have good advertising spend coming in and good sales coming in from Amazon PPC, then you also get better ranks. That means your listing is getting ranked organically on search results on different keywords. So, for example, let's say, let's just assume that okay, I spent $100 in sales and I got $600 in revenue. That's 18% of ACOS. But let's assume that I got 50% of my orders organically. So, sorry, I got 20 sales from PPC. I got 20 sales from
Organic.
um, organically. That means I got $1,200 in revenue and I only spent $100. So now my total ACOS is basically 100 divided by 1200. That is spend divided by overall sales. So now 1 by 12 is 8.5%. So if your profit margin was, let's say 25%, 30%, let's say it was 30%, I spent 8.5% of my spend to get the sales. So my takeaway income or net profit is 22.8% of $1,200. That's a very decent outcome of an Amazon brand. But then again, these are perfect scenarios, and you have to work on the buyer intent and the buyer persona and the emotional standpoint with regards to creative and copy to build that these kind of numbers.
So in other words, Tessin, Amazon advertising isn't as easy as it looks.
Eh, Definitely, I we can summarize it
There's a
that way.
lot of work involved. There's a lot of
Of course,
maths involved. There's a lot of
correct,
fractions and decimal points
correct,
involved. But
correct.
but at the end of the day,
Uh-huh.
then advertising needs to be done correctly. Otherwise,
Correctly,
it's money thrown in the air.
exactly, exactly, definitely.
And I guess that's where Seller Downtown comes in, where you can help users
Hmm.
correctly set up advertising campaigns.
Exactly,
I remember
exactly.
when I was selling a few years ago, I'm no longer selling now, but when I was selling a few years ago, for the
Uh-huh.
first couple of months, it really was just throwing money in the air. And we were
One in
spending
there.
thousands on advertising and not seeing the return. And it was like, okay,
Hmm.
why? And then it was a very slow process for us to learn. But
Okay.
oh gosh. But
You
anyway,
learned the hard way. You learned the hard way.
we
That's for
learned the
sure.
hard way. We learned the hard way.
Okay.
Amazon advertising, I have to admit, is one of those areas that I don't miss. I'm glad it's behind me. I'm glad I'm on the big data side, and I'm helping sellers now understand their profitability, and slowly but surely, thankfully, we're becoming the authority on
Mhm.
profitability and analytics. So yeah, but I mean, but never say never.
Of
Uh,
course.
Tessin, over the last few years,
Hmm.
Amazon as a business is always looking for ways to increase its bottom line.
Correct.
Advertising has been one of those areas where it started off with just PPC campaigns. Now we have video PPC campaigns. Where do
Hmm.
you see, as an advertising specialist, where do you see the future of Amazon advertising going? What can we
Okay.
expect next?
I think over the last 12 months, I know that Amazon advertising has been around for a few years now, but over the last 12 months, what we have seen in the Amazon advertising on Amazon at least is drastic changes in the ad console, in the UI, and and what we are seeing is we are seeing a simple advertising console built into very complex procedures in the longer run. And I'm not saying complex in the sense that okay, they're making things difficult. No, they're just adding new features and they're adding new things into the advertising mix. So for example, you didn't have video ads a few years back, and you didn't have top of the search brand ads, and you didn't have Amazon posts, and you didn't have Amazon display ads, and you didn't have off Amazon ads for your listing. So for that, I think it's just going to take some time, and just like the Google Ads evolved into a behemoth that it is now, I think Amazon will continue to do the same. And since Amazon has a very transactional nature of its relationship with the customers, they just go there to purchase things. So I
Do you
think it
think,
has.
Christine, that Amazon, sorry to interject, do
Uh-huh.
you think Amazon will introduce a new type of advertising? Do you see any scope for
It is
email
introducing all
advertising?
the time. So, for example, they just added TV shows or Twitch streaming shows
Yep, I'm
into
familiar
the
with that.
advertising mix. So that is interest-based advertising that is normally associated with Facebook. They just added that into the mix for sponsored display just a few days back, just a few weeks back actually. So
That's
Amazon
interesting.
is
Now people will be able to do TV advertising of their products.
exactly,
Wow, that's
or
interesting. Wasn't
they
aware
can
of that.
actually, yeah, that is even possible, and they can also do ads to people who are interested in that show. So, for example, if you're interested in the Big Bang Theory, you can get an ad for a physics I love physics t-shirt. So that is very interesting, and this is going to be a complex platform now. It's not as easy as running an auto campaign, if you would like to term it that way. So that is
Right, right, right,
why
right.
it is becoming a complex platform, and I think that is why people need to learn the Amazon advertising for itself, and not just start some campaigns and let's see what it gives us, because you have to build your listing the right way, and you have to build the right traffic through the right setup of Amazon PPC campaigns. And of course, there are other factors as well, such as external traffic at some point, that you want to bring the right people to the listing and have some sales that can help you rank on the keywords, because without ranking, you wouldn't probably compete and become profitable. You're going to have to get some ranks on the right keywords so that you have organic traffic and organic keywords, organic sales coming in, and that is going to help your top line and the bottom line as well.
Just on that,
Uh-huh.
what would you say is a good split of ad sales versus organic sales? What would be a good split?
That's a very interesting question, and is asked a lot actually. But the thing is, what we normally what it normally depends on is, for example, if I'm a market leader, then I'm gonna get organic sales no matter what. So, for example, we're running a brand, and which is the absolute monster of a thing, because we basically invented that thing. That niche is there because we invented it. Not me, but the brand that we work with. But there are already going to be people who will just go there and get those products. So they're gonna have an organic organic split of 90%, and I wouldn't be surprised. But for a normal seller, I think if you have an established Amazon listing, which is ranked on the right keywords, you should see a split of 70/30. So 70 should be organic sales and 30 should be PPC sales.
That's very
But
interesting.
this
That's
dilemma comes in when you say, okay, I just started selling and I only see PPC sales. So that kind of thing is, you know, a bit counterintuitive, but in the longer run, you're gonna have to build your PPC sales in order to get those organic sales and those ranks, which will help you get a better split, month over month. And that is how you go into it and build a profitable business across, the time of 6 months, maybe, or 3 to 4 months.
Tehsin, brands are spending millions upon millions on advertising,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, they're not doing so well. What would be your five takeaways to those sellers who
Uh-huh.
are not seeing the return?
Okay, so the first thing would be good product development. Sell the good products. Because if you don't have a bad flaw in the product, and you don't have any issues with the product, that's just base for now. You're gonna have to sell exceptionally good products with the USP. Hopefully, that can be something substantial to your audience. But having a good product development department in your company, or maybe if you can do it yourself, and that's going to be super helpful. That's one. And then you're going to have to maintain a good cash flow, because a lot of people, by following all those gurus, they just say, okay, I'm going to purchase this much of inventory and I'm going to sell. Even if you sell, you're going to not have the money to order new inventory. So where do you plan to get that money from? So they don't have the accurate picture of cash situation in an e-commerce business, and that is hurting a lot of them. So
Cash
a good
flow
cash
is
flow
definitely
maintenance is definitely important, and that is super helpful with what sales as well. And then the right traffic, because as you mentioned extensively in the interview as well, you don't just have to get traffic, you have to get the right traffic to the right setup of PPC campaigns and other departments as well, to the right traffic, and then the right pain points targeting to convergence with creative copy and writing. So that is super important. And then the last point that we don't see a lot of brands doing it, but that is super helpful, is having an upsell. So for example, you're gonna have to have products that are an upsell to your product. So for example, if you're selling spoon for $10, you should have a listing, or you should have an offer outside of Amazon, maybe, to sell a dinner set for $100, because it wouldn't be that easy to get profits within those $10, because your even if your profit margin is like 40%, that's just $4 of $10. And even if it costs you to get a click for $1, it's going to be very hard to be profitable in that $10 product. So you're going to have to build those upsells for your listing, or for your business, so that you can be profitable in the longer run. So I think that can be five things that people can work on to build a good profitable Amazon and e-commerce business.
Tessin, it's been very informative. I've learned a few new things as well, so that's always good. Um, Summarizing everything, Tessin joined us today from Seller Downtown, and the biggest thing about selling on Amazon and the advertising element is before you advertise, fix your product. Make sure your
Exactly,
product
exactly.
is
That's
worth
a good takeaway from
advertising.
this.
So
Yeah,
if your product has flaws, if your product has design flaws, spelling mistakes, packaging flaws, fix those first before you
correct.
advertise. And
Exactly,
then
exactly.
once you advertise,
Uh-huh.
don't just create automated campaigns, put $20 and let it fly, because that's never going to work.
Exactly. That's never going to
Advertising is
work.
all about finding personas, niche buyers, and
Correct.
catering the campaigns to those
Hmm.
buyers.
Exactly, exactly. The right traffic, as we like to call it.
Tahsin, just to wrap up there, I want to thank you for joining me today and kickstarting the Loose Talk sessions for What Sales.
Okay.
Um,
Uh-huh.
What Sales uses, when we look at stats, we see ACOS is climbing, and it's important for sellers to understand that they need to bring their ACOSs down, and
Yes,
it all starts with their product and their listing
correct.
way before the advertising conversation can
Comes
even,
in.
and once they start advertising, they need to maintain a 70-30 split, which would be 70 organic and 30 on paid, to be able to maintain that healthy profit margin.
Correctly.
Tessin, would there be anything that you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I guess that's pretty much it. You wrapped it up perfectly, and I think I
Oh,
would like to
sorry, I
thank you.
completely
Uh huh.
forgot. You've got a special giveaway for what sales users, and it
Oh
completely slipped
yeah.
my mind. The free audit. Thank you. Firstly, thank you
Correct.
very much for that. I really appreciate it.
Hmm.
What sales users, if you are looking to gain that extra piece of advice and get an audit done absolutely free of charge from Tessin, and you've seen it and heard it for yourself today. This guy is an expert on advertising. I wish I had Tessin 5-6 years ago when I was selling. That's a testament to Tessin's experience and
Thank you
knowledge.
so much.
But if you would like a free audit, please visit sellerdowntown.com. We're going to be putting links somewhere around
Hopefully
this.
below, somewhere around this video.
Uh, please reach out to Seller Downtown. Do mention What Sales, and you'll get your free advertising
Account
audit.
audit.
And then it will be over to Tessin to look after you guys.
Okay.
Tessin,
Thank you so
final
much for
word.
having me. Thank you so much for having me, and I wish the best of luck for what sales because I've been taking a look at what sales. The platform is fantastic. The clarity that we get from a simple app is nowhere to
Thank
be
you.
found at the moment. We've been working with a lot of software actually. Because we onboard a lot of clients and they have different software, so we've seen quite a lot of them, and this clarity is not found anywhere else. And when you
Thank you.
guys integrate all those platforms, then that is super helpful because brands are built on multiple platforms normally and not just Amazon. So that is super helpful. I would recommend a lot of people to test out our sales and see the clarity that I'm talking about, and I'm sure they will like it. Okay. And for
Thank
what
you
sales
very much.
users, you're eligible for a free account audit from Seller Downtown. Reach out to us on any social media platform. That can be my list, my profile, or the Seller Downtown page on Facebook or the website, and we'll be happy to help you guys
And we'll be putting all of the links to your social media and website to in the bios or the text somewhere
on the
around this video
description.
anyway. Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Just to end, what sales? You've hit a sensitive nerve. When I was selling 5-6 years ago, my biggest bugbear was, how much did we make today? How much did we spend on advertising today versus our sales today? And when I couldn't find straightforward answers, that's what compelled me to create What Sales, because I couldn't find a simple solution for a layman. Now that we have, thankfully, humbly, a few thousand users now using What Sales, uh,
Hmm.
we did a survey. 83% of sellers still don't know how much they made, and they're still relying on spreadsheets, and they're still saying, oh, I think I made 30%, and I think I made 20%, and I think I made 40%. And they don't understand that if you don't understand your profitability, you can
Correct.
never advertise properly, you can't grow your brand properly, you can never build a profitable business, and you can't exit properly. So that's where
Correct.
What Sales stem from. But anyway, a conversation for another day. What Sales,
Uh-huh.
thanks you, Tessin. Thank you for being on this first Kickstart session for Loose Talk, and I would love to invite you back again to do some more mathematics and equations and decimal points on PPC
Okay.
campaign.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you, and for what sales users, best of luck on
Thank
Amazon.
you. Thank you. Tessin, thank you very, very much. Have a good day.